We're back. Tales from the Darkside. We're back on the podcast. It's been a few months. My guys have been slacking. I've been trying to get out here, but we put it all together this time, and I brought my good buddy Brian Watts. What's up, Brian?
Hey, buddy. I guess you waited for the best, didn't you, bud?
Yeah, man. I figured I'd start off with a home run. One of the Watts brothers.
Grand slam.
The one
baby.
that actually caught fish. Now, the other one was more in the public.
That
eye,
other one
right?
was he was a hell of a netter. I'm gonna tell you that.
He
Yeah.
definitely could net, and
Dang
he
right
can
he
get you
can.
a cold drink, couldn't
Dang
he?
right he can.
Bottle of water.
You didn't have to tell him nothing. He just done it by feel.
You know, maybe
Totally.
that's what we'll do. We'll do this whole podcast ragging on him since he don't come in here.
Well, that's what we need to do. I think he needs to come in here and elaborate a little bit and see what you can do to him.
Yeah, I'm
Huh?
ready. I'm ready.
Are
I'm
you?
ready for that. You know,
He's ready.
yeah, I bet he is. Last time, he comes up with some good one-liners, but he's out of gas quick. You know that? He'll come out with something you don't expect, but then he runs off and hides.
There you go.
You don't want to hear no more of it.
There
He's
you
like,
go.
what's your other buddy's name? The big bass guy who does that. Hit and run, I call him.
Who?
Kyle-
Del Valley?
Well, Del
Oh,
Valley.
Kyle Gooding.
Yeah,
Now he might be the #1 hit and run guy.
hit and run.
I'm gonna tell you what, his feelings get hurt real easy too.
He probably ain't listening.
Nah, but
He
he'll
prob-
see it.
Yeah,
He'll
might.
see it.
You know, last time you were on here, we were trying to pry you for some information on that power pole trolling motor, and bam, it's out.
Here it is.
Tell me what you know.
Man, I tell you, Greg and I, along with, I don't know, 11 or 12 other people, have been running. I was telling somebody the other day, I've been running that Alpha Bill for like 4.5 years, and I think I made a mistake, but about 2.5 years ago, I think they actually upgraded the one that I had. I bass fish on the average 3 trips a week.
Is
When
that,
you- when
is
you
that
wa-
work? Is that work?
That is work. That's
Okay,
that's
I just-
that's
right.
performance driven.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
I got it.
Probably, and not cause it's me, but probably by far the best troll motor that I've ever set behind. It's powerful. It's got a titanium shaft, lifetime replacement. 2436. If you buy that troll motor and you go, well, maybe I only want 2 batteries. Well, try
Right.
it. If that don't suit you, buy another battery. Make it 36. You don't have to buy certain troll motors
That's
for
right.
certain poundage. So it gives you a lot of leeway on what you
Well,
want to
and
do.
2 boats. You have one smaller than the other.
And one big, take it off and on, let it go.
recognizes
Yeah.
it as you plug it in, right? So
But-
there's no switching or.
But probably what a lot of people don't realize, I think the fishing community would realize that we've been working on this a long time. But what a lot of new people don't realize, there's like 6 or 7 years of total investment building this troll motor.
Oh yeah.
And it's a doggone smart. It'll throw a code and it'll tell you maybe what happened to me or what's wrong with me or how to fix me. And we got great customer service and support, so we're right there at anybody's back door if they want something fixed. But as far as power, as far as durability, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen with it. One of the things I've said, and I said it on the radio, that it's going to take some time. It's going to take a year. It's going to take a year for those people to start believing in it.
Right.
I think that one of the reasons why people believe in it now is because of the incredible service that Power Pole has.
Because who we are. Yeah.
You're not going to buy junk.
That's right.
It's like, and I'll give you an example, and I think I can do this without getting in trouble, but I bought them, there's a certain company out there, maybe I just won't mention their name, and they're good at copying. They're really good at copying. You
Yes,
know what
they
I
are.
mean?
Yeah.
They've done it with, they started with trim tab trolling motors. Lenco, a guy named Richard over there, I remember dealing with them way back in the day. They were like, that Lenco trolling motor on the trim tabs was, it was a motor guide trolling motor, but it was mounted on the trim tabs.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of those things we sold to the tarpon fishermen in this area was just incredible. Well, within a couple years, all of a sudden you get this one that's plastic from up north, and they built the same thing, and it's not the way to do things. That Lenco trim tab trolling motor, I'm not saying it didn't have problems, but they took care of it, and it had less problems than, there was only 2 trim tab trolling motor companies, and they had a lot less problems than the copycat.
That's right.
And Power Pole's dealt with a little bit of that. You know, you look at some of the stuff that's knocked off from it, and one thing I can say for sure, if you're in this Tampa Bay area, there's certain products that there's no way not to have on your boat. One of them we believe in is Bob's jack plate.
Mm-hmm.
There ain't a better jack plate. I mean, I've had them on boats over 20 years. I've replaced motors and lines and solenoids, but the plate has been there. Power Pole, you cannot buy anybody else's. If you live in the Tampa Bay area, you're not real smart if you got one of the other guys on there.
That's right.
And the main reason why is we all know stuff is going to not necessarily break, but malfunction, quit working, where you got to have service places. Having Power Pole right here in Tampa, for anybody in this area, and I've heard it a million times, and I'm sure y'all have too, you pull up, they fix it, you're on your way.
Well, it's like buying a $70,000 pickup truck.
Right.
You know, it's going to run for a little while, but you're going to have trouble out of that too. So who's going to take care of you? That's the big thing.
Right. A guy told me that a long time ago. A buddy of mine, I won't mention his name, I wouldn't want him getting mad at me, but he had a little bit of money, and he would always go to the boat manufacturer to buy it. Like, I bought it straight from Proline, or I bought it straight from this one or that one or whatever boat it was. And he had bought a house down on Anna Maria, and he bought him a new Grady. And I said, where did you end up getting the Grady from? And he said, oh, that dealer over there on Longboat Key. And I said, Bob, you know, oh, sorry. I said, hey,
Mark,
man.
you mean Mark, not
Yeah,
Bob.
hey, Mark. I said, that place is probably a little bit more money than most. He says, yeah, Mike, but you know what? They take care of me. When my boat breaks down, I call them. They come get it. I don't take it there. I don't worry about anything. They take it, they bring it back, and they send me a bill, or they carry it under warranty. And there's something to be said about buying that local stuff, because no matter what you get, Grady White, one of the best boats around. Yamaha Motors, one of my favorite.
Something's going to quit.
They fail.
Yeah.
All of them do.
Yeah.
So it's how quick you're going to get back on the water. And I really think that that Power Pole trolling motor is a home run. I've already seen it. We've sold about 10, and I bet y'all have sold several thousand over the country. I haven't heard anything negative.
No, I have, other than a few little issues, and I'm not going to point the finger at the users, but you know, you being in the business, me being there looking at it, a lot of it's user error to a degree until they figure out how that troll motor loves to operate.
Right.
So once they figure that out and they fish behind it for several months, they're going to understand what they have. One of the best things, and I know Tom helped work on this too, the prop on that troll motor is made to cut through hydrilla, ribbon grass, eel grass.
So it's not a special prop like some of the other ones you have to buy to chop stuff up.
No, you know, John wouldn't tell you this, but he went through about 27 different designs with us testing to be able to get the most weedless and the most thrust with the less amount of power. Now that's 3 things you got to start working on, because you get one right, two's off. Two's right, one's still off. So he made a lot of different designs until we come up with this. But you know, it's hard for somebody like me to get on here and talk about how great that motor is. I work for the company. The company is phenomenal in my eyes.
But
They're wonderful.
I know this. I know this about Brian Watts. You're not going to work for anybody that's garbage.
No.
You're not going to put your name on it if you don't believe in it.
That's right.
And that's the beauty, that in most cases, sponsorship or who you work for, you really have to look through that. You know, you have guides that every year they're sponsored by different people. You know, this is the best bait, or this is the best lure,
That's right.
or this is the best rod and reel. When one of you guys do it and put your name on it and stick with it, you know, Power Pole's been out how long? 20 years?
23.
Yeah.
A little over
I mean,
23.
that's unbelievable. From an idea to 23 years in the Tampa Bay area and employing a ton of just super good people.
Oh, yeah.
When, you know, you guys were about, y'all were about washed up when John picked you up, weren't you? Y'all weren't winning no more, were you? Huh?
Hey, we done went through that phase.
But what a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I mean, really, because regardless of how better of a fisherman I know I am, you really put all that red fishing and all that stuff on the map when you think about tournament fishing and actually making a living. I'm not going to say you killed it, because I know you didn't. It's
There wasn't killer money out there back then, just like there's not now. But back in the day, you still had some of the most premier fishermen that ever
absolutely.
fished that Redfish Cup.
Yeah.
You know, they were there to win, wasn't there for all the hoopla, and we didn't have all the social media.
Right.
So you think about how you got your name out. It was all about, of course, you didn't do podcasts then, but we represented you, which was wonderful. Everybody knew Mahoney's. From here to West Louisiana.
Sure.
T.A. Mahoney's. T.A.
And
Mahoney's.
still that way.
Still that way. It's the magazines. It's the radio shows, you know, like y'all do every week. It's stuff like that you got to get out and do that represent yourself, but you do more about representing those companies that get you where you're at.
That's
too.
right.
You know.
They weren't as happy with me because I didn't like wearing all them NASCAR shirts and. You know,
We had a plexiglass.
Y'all were like mafia.
We had a piece of plexiglass with a Mahoney sticker we'd put around our neck when we had to do it.
Yeah, when you
know what I
saw
mean?
me. You know that one tournament I walked up to, there must have been 20 people standing around you. It was like an entourage. You wouldn't believe it. I walked up, I felt so out of place. All these guys, they were the big man. I mean, y'all were 7 foot tall back then, weren't you?
Or taller.
I mean, and doing good. Team of the year. I mean, how many of those did you win?
3. We got team of the year on all 3 tours back then. IFA, FLW, and the ESP
Y'all
and
got
Redfish
quite
Cup.
a few trophies.
I guess if I'd have kept them, I probably would.
What'd you
but
do
just
with 'em? You
oh,
didn't put
so
'em in
many
your living
plaques.
room?
Just
What do you
Hell,
got
they're
in the
straight
living
out.
room? Tell us something we don't know.
a TV,
Live, love, laugh.
a TV,
Let me guess. Live,
and
love, laugh.
a
You
swing.
ain't got none of this?
Oh no.
None of that.
Oh,
huh?
you really won't know the real stuff I
yeah,
got in
you
there.
ain't got
Oh
no deer in there?
no,
Nothing like that.
no,
Flowers and
nope. I got them all in my room back there.
honeybees.
I don't need to look at all
So
that
you're
stuff.
restricted to one
Look,
room?
I'm not like a Mahoney where I got to just brag and show everybody some
Y'all
of my
hear this?
accomplishments.
Y'all hear this? You know, I was thinking tonight, I brought you out to Alabama that time. And I don't want the guy to get mad because he's a nice guy, but Brian and his brother come to Alabama, and they want to know if they can bring a friend. Oh, I guess so. Bring a friend. Well, he brings some guy.
Who was that?
He don't talk, real quiet. They pulled up with a UTV in the back and said, just show us the property lines. You don't need to show us where the stands are. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Just show us the
can't remember.
property
I
lines.
can't remember who was with us though, but yeah,
He was a little shady. I think he had a little outlaw in him.
that wasn't Del Valley. I know it wasn't Del
No,
Valley.
Del Valley. He's real shady.
Yeah, he is shady.
Yeah, he comes in with dollar bills signed.
You got to watch Del Valley.
Just that name. That's old shipyard name, you know. That's tough cookie
That's
right there.
legacy right there, brother.
You know, it's weird when you think about it and you think about people like him. He's a great guy, but, you know, people can look at him and take him the wrong way, and I guess I'm in the same boat, and that's why we get along.
That's
but
exactly right.
Del Valley's a good guy.
Got a heart of gold.
He'll give you an old used T-shirt for a new one any day of the week, you know. One that doesn't fit, got holes in it, and maybe got a little bleach on it.
That's right.
And it'd be a dark shirt,
That's
but he
right.
wants a new one.
That's right.
You remember that, Del Valley? Well, hey, we're here today talking with Brian Watts, having a good time. We got another segment coming up of the podcast. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're back, round 2. Brian Watts, Mike Mahoney, Tales from the Darkside. We've talked power pole. We've talked copycats. And speaking of copycats, well, we don't need to talk about them anymore, but next week's iCast, right?
Yep.
What do you think's going to happen there? You think a bucket's going to win Best of Show?
God, I hope not.
That'd be tough, wouldn't it?
You know, I don't even think about that anymore. That's some of the damnedest stuff when you go in there and a bucket wins Best of Show.
You know, what happened to that show,
I don't know.
Brian? I mean, I remember when that show, when we first started going there, it was really for the people in the industry. And I'm not saying that a fisherman's not in the industry, but it was really for buyers.
Buyers.
You don't see that anymore. I stopped going.
I was starting to say, you used to go or send a few of your guys just for that specific reason. But I don't know that it's like that anymore.
Well, you know the way I look at it, and I've told people this, and it's not, I'm not being egotistical. I'm a retailer. So people do come to me. But, like, for me to have something here, if it's a good product, it's already going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an example. Power Pole, we'll use them. Power Pole has won more than one iCast innovative, product.
Product design, yeah.
I've got the Move trolling motor in stock. Why do I need to go over there? So the stuff that is going to be good and the stuff that's top notch, I know that they're going to come through this front door and have me sell it. We sell products to the people in Tampa. The people in Tampa support us. That's the way it works. Mm-hmm. Whether I'm there or not. Now, I think my cousin, Tom, will be going over there with the NASCAR shirt on. And probably
can I get his autograph?
Scales will be falling off, let me tell you. I mean, he's done a lot for the freshwater. He was president of BASS for, I think, 2 terms or something of Florida.
Right. And
he's done really well with them kids in Central Florida and working those bass tournaments. His club is all about kids. I like giving him a hard time, and of course he gives me a hard time too. But when you start talking about organizations that are helping kids,
but when you think about it, it's a good situation.
Absolutely.
I mean, he does a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, and we work on a lot of bass boats here. I kind of think, because I'm that offshore guy, right? To me, bass fishing's like easy.
Like brim fishing?
Yeah, it's like
shell cracker fishing.
Yeah, you're in a big tournament and you catch a 10-pounder. I mean, it's like, and I see it and I know it's a great deal and I know it's hard to do it when the pressure's on. I mean, that's the main thing. All of us have caught big fish. It's always funny to hear somebody who's around a tournament fishing. I hear it with kingfish all the time. Well, I heard they only caught a 26-pounder. I caught a 35. I should have been in that tournament and won.
Oh, yeah. Hear it all the time.
Let me promise you this. Go get in the tournament, you ain't going to see a 35-pounder. And I'm first to tell you that.
all the time.
I catch a fish and pre-fish. I'm nervous. Like, I've caught 45 and 50-pound kingfish pre-fish.
You done burn it up then.
And I let them off and everything and get out of there, and I still come back. And everybody knows kingfish and fronts like coming in, them fish move, and just like all the fish, it ain't easy, that's for sure.
Hey, it ain't nothing but a game. How you gonna play?
Yeah, it's.
I mean, that's the whole bottom line.
When you think about it, though, you were telling us earlier about how old you were and aches and pains and different things, but when you really look back on those years that you had growing and being in this industry, it had to be well worth it. All that traveling.
Oh, I would. Hey, this could be a long story, but Greg and I was in the fiberglass business for 16, 17 years. You knew that.
Yep.
I come in one day and I told Greg when they started, when the rumor got out that the IFA was going to have a redfish tournament, 10,000 to win. I said, we're going to fish that. And there was a rod builder on the East Coast, Jim Murphy, made Reddington rods. You remember.
Yeah, I remember.
He actually started me and Greg. He was gracious enough. He paid our entry fees that first year. And, we're indebted to him still. We took off real good. C.A. Richardson, Ray Van Horn. There was a whole group of guys that started that. Dave Marquette. Hey, Marquette was, I tell you what, Marquette was one of the best sticks the first 2 or 3 years. But it's that do I guide or do I redfish?
Yeah.
I understand why you don't do it. Yep. But, it worked good for Greg and I. Then we made the decision, look, let's shut it down. How in the hell are we going to make a living, he said. I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to turn 60 one day thinking I could have done this. And we done it. Yeah, it worked. Cinderella story, yeah. I wish it had gotten bigger, but there was a lot of things that got in the way that kept it from getting bigger. But no, I don't regret. Hey, it put us with John Oliverio, and I'm going to tell you, one of the best guys walking on 2 feet. Same man today as he was 30 years ago. So,
you know, it's incredible. 30 years ago, he's walking in the store buying parts and pieces, and still today, I call him. If he's available, he picks up the phone. Hey, Mike.
Oh, sure he does.
He's not out of touch.
No.
He's probably even got a little piece of Mike, and he's a good guy. He
Great
hung
guy.
with me.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Sometimes I step over a little bit, don't I? Have I ever called you and got on you?
Huh.
Hey, let's talk about one
have
time.
you?
Let's talk about one time when you were fishing and all sponsored up. You remember that? You pulled up here in a truck, and I'm looking out the window, and I see another truck.
And all you
up.
could say is, I want that guy, didn't you?
No, you don't remember what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Well, you were sponsored by Power Pole, so I'm sure some of the payments and different things might have been a credit. So just like all these other guides, they all of a sudden.
Is that when you thought I was doing business in your parking
lot?
lot?
No, I saw you.
That was for another angler that you and I both like.
He pulled a power pole out of his back of his truck. They put it in the other truck, and they both left.
Never come in.
What would you do? I just called you and said, hey, I got a little more into this building than you got in that truck.
See, you didn't see that right. I was helping one of your good customers.
And nobody came. A customer.
He didn't have to come in then. He already had what he wanted.
Customer just parks in the parking lot and buys stuff black market. Is that what you're telling me?
You know, hey, look, you're kind of always on top of me, wanting just to down me. It's coming this fall.
What are we gonna do this fall?
Me and you
heard it here first.
Me and you for a few years. There's been a couple years going on. Who's the GOAT in Tampa Bay? He's always wanted to beat me at least one time before I
you one time.
Before I hit them pearly gates is what he's wanting to do. He don't want that chance to get by.
I am so confident,
Hey, but
Brian.
this fall, it's coming down. You're going to have to hire somebody to walk around with a sack full of green moss.
Against you.
Yeah. You're going to have to smoke me off that ass because I am going to wear it out.
I'll tell you how confident I am. I'll let you cut this. If I lose, I'm going to let you cut
Are
this.
you?
I'm going to let you cut. And you know what?
Now, look, you're talking to a lot of people that know that.
It ain't going to get cut, people. That's how confident I am.
I'll tell you how confident I am.
Let's hear it.
I'll put up a power pole troll motor for that.
You're getting a power pole trolling motor because I'm winning. This ain't going nowhere.
That's getting cut off, and I keep the troll motor.
Boy, you're on for that one.
It's coming.
Can we get that on a handshake?
It's coming.
We got it right here.
We're gonna look. We talked about it too long. We're gonna figure out the rules, and it's all gonna be videoed.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, we'll just make a show of it. Everybody can see it.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a show. Y'all need to get involved in that CCA tournament. It's in September.
It's happening.
I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. He's giving away a trolling motor when I beat him. I guarantee a trolling motor is going to be given away because I'm the GOAT. Bottom line.
You're going to look like a goat when I get done with that goat tee.
A goat beard.
I'm going to take that and make a few snook jigs out of that.
You probably catch something.
Probably.
You ever caught a keeper snook?
No, I don't know. Does it have to be seasoned to be keeper?
Can I tell you something that way back when? Remember when I beat you in Bob Nee's tournament, you and your brother, artificial only?
Oh, did you?
Me and Jerry Williams, first place, slam. I think they gave y'all first place redfish. I would never even tell people I caught redfish. Isn't that kind of weird? Like way back in the day, I wouldn't even
That's
say,
how we were.
if I was snook fishing and I caught a 30-inch red, Honestly,
trash
all
fish.
of us would.
Trash
We
fish.
go, yeah, look at this big old snook.
Hey, redfish was a bycatch, snook fishing and trout fishing.
I
That's
agree.
where a redfish was.
I agree with you. And now all of a sudden it's crazy. And it's like kingfish. I've been telling myself this for years. I put a lot of money in kingfish tournaments and didn't win enough back. You know, the best we ever did, I was with Crofton, and my money wasn't in it. My time was. We won $22,000 in a kingfish tournament.
Did you really?
Second place, Hog's Breath, 125 boats. We spent 18. There ain't no win there.
There ain't much cut left, is it?
Yeah, there ain't. I mean, I did it for the fun and the experience, and them guys were top notch. And as you know, a tournament fisherman is totally different than that weekend warrior.
Oh, good God, yeah.
He's going to stand there and pound and pound and pound until you got to make him leave.
That's right.
You don't always luck out, you earn it. And I know that you and your brother, there's been many a times, because I've heard the conversations and I've heard the speaking engagements of having absolutely nothing all day and knowing them fish are right there in front of you. And the time's clicking, and you're working, and boom, two 26.5-inch fish in the well, straight back, 5 minutes to spare. You know, but it came from the pressure.
You know, we won the most money Greg and I ever won in an event, and it was, I hate to say it because I don't want it to sound big, but it was $72,000 with total prize and contingencies. And we won that looking at the Seminole boat ramp over there in Clearwater. So, you know, it really don't matter how far you go or how fast you go. It's about, like you just said, it's the right place.
Yeah.
As anglers, all we have is decisions. Cause you can cast, well, you can't cast as good as me, but you can almost cast as good as me.
I don't know about that.
Everybody can cast good, tie great knots, have the best equipment like y'all have. It's decisions.
Yeah.
When do you make that decision?
That's right. And the more.
Yeah, it's like you out. It's like you out in Lake Charles. When do you know to leave that boat that feeds them redfish? You got to make that decision.
When I see somebody like you looking for me, I couldn't believe that. You know, I let everybody go that day.
That was crazy. What?
And I pulled up behind this boat. I had it. I knew the guys working the boat. They told me that this casino boat, twice a day, they take all the food and drop it right off the back. And redfish, the whole thing turns red, every size you want. So, pre-fish day, I'm going to slide over there in the hole where nobody can see me. I'm sitting there, and here he comes. You and your brother come out of nowhere. Mahoney, what are you doing over here? You're in my spot.
You look like a crack dealer waiting for a pickup in there.
Man, I was
just
tucked
hid
back
out.
in there so far.
I know.
That was some fun times. You know,
that was.
I'll tell you about one of the, I felt like it was a win. I think we came in 7th or 8th in Lake Charles, and we did not catch them on the casino boat, but we tried.
I know that.
We were there, and I won my cut. We won 3,400, 1,700 apiece.
Mm-hmm.
I went home. Man, yeah, finally. You know, I probably spent 2,000,
At
won
least.
1,700, and didn't work for 10 days. Was probably about what it amounted to. Real money maker. It's kind of like them bass tournaments what my cousin does. You drive halfway across the state at 3 in the morning. Your entry fee is $5, and you can win 15.
Right.
You know, but every truck's there. Anyway, my $1,700. All right, I got 1,700. So they send me a 1099. You know what that is?
Yeah, I do.
You've seen them before.
Yeah, plenty.
I'd already done my taxes. I'd already done them simple, boom, boom, sent them off. I get this 1099, $1,700. I won the tournament.
Sam's wanting 300, ain't he?
I don't know what he wanted. I crumpled it up and threw it in the trash. I'm thinking if the IRS gonna mess with me over $1,700, they got issues, right?
Yeah.
Don't ever do that. That 1,700 turned into 10 grand, and I couldn't get out of it. It was late fees and this fee and that.
It's
fee.
horrible.
So I'm thinking, oh my God, I owe 10 grand. I'm 30 years old, and what am I gonna do? So I talked to some people, and then here, you know, some good people, and best tax attorney around. Here he is. So I call him up. He says, yeah, bring the paperwork down. I'll take care of all that. I get down there. He looks at all of it. I said, what you think? He said, well, you want to know what I think? I think write him a check. I go, write him a check? You can't fight it? He goes, man, it's $10,000.
What?
It's going to cost me double that for me to handle this whole thing with paperwork. Write him a check. That's your best bet. That's the least way out. And I think they had it down to $8,000. But the $1,700, if I'd have paid the $400 or $500 in taxes, would have never been there. But when you think you know more than everybody else and crumple it up and throw it in the trash,
that's that learning curve, ain't it?
Good thing they hired all them
I've been there.
400,000 employees.
I'm telling you,
It ain't worth it to mess with that. So if you're fishing
terrible.
tournaments, I can tell you one thing: save your receipts.
Yep.
Very important. Your gas receipts, your food receipts, all your receipts. Because if you hit it big, and you hit that 75 or that 150,000 or $250,000,
you need them.
you better have some stuff to write off, or they're going to get their cut out of it. What do you do about offshore fishing, Brian? I know that you've caught them bass fish and you graduated from bass, which bass, if you ever noticed a bass when you go in some of these places like a boat show, you can throw about any worm in there and catch some bass.
Catch every one of them.
They ain't smart. So what about big fish? You do any offshore stuff?
No, I don't do no big fish.
Tell us about that show you and your brother did. It still sticks out in my mind. You were on a big 30-something foot boat and y'all started talking about catching tuna and wahoo and sailfish.
I don't remember that.
Who were you with? Rick Murphy.
Was it Rick?
I think it was Rick. Y'all had a little step stool behind the console so he could see over it. and the two brothers stood next to it. Y'all three were all the same height in that show. I remember that. I kept going, man, what do they got? A little step behind that console.
He was sitting up in one of these fighting chairs.
Yeah, standing on it or something. But yeah, y'all caught some fish down there in Key West.
Yeah, I don't know. You know,
Tail end buoy, I think is where
we've done some. I don't remember that, but we have done some stuff down in Key West for Evinrude. They had a big 3-day event where you catch barracudas. I think barracudas and sharks or something.
Boy,
King of the Keys. Hell, Greg won.
King of the garbage fish.
Shark
and barracuda.
Hey, it takes talent to
That's
catch a barracuda.
That's like Jack Crevalle, isn't it, Cam? That's like a big Jack Crevalle, and putting it in the sport fish category. We've seen that before, hadn't we?
Hey, if they're off colored a little bit, you can call them anything you want to.
You know, Jack Crevalle, they don't get no bigger than Venice.
Hey, I went out offshore fishing here about a month or so
Who'd
ago.
you go
I had a good buddy of mine down the road, Dennis Powell. We caught a lot of fish, a lot of groupers, quite a few snappers, not a whole lot of snappers. And I'm gonna tell you this: I'm not an offshore fisherman. You are. Maybe you can answer this. Who comes up with these god-awful rules about what you can keep?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
I hear this all the time about, well, season's closed. We ain't got this. We ain't got that. Season, we're going to close it for a year. Where do they get their information? And here's what I'm saying. You can put me over there in the Winter Haven chain of lakes. Maybe I find fish you'll never find.
For sure.
Take you out in the Gulf, you don't have any trouble filling a fish box full of triggerfish or red snapper or groupers or kingfish, whatever you catch.
Right.
Because you've learned how to go out and dissect that and make them bite. I just wonder, how do they stand at some city municipal pier and ask somebody in a 17-foot whaler, did they catch a grouper today? Well, no. Well, okay, well, they're not biting. I do not get that for the life of me.
I think some of that is, and you know, I've had an issue with, you know, recently the gag grouper closure. Let's take that for example. From what I understand, and I'm a dumb guy that listens to the other people tell me why, but they meaning the Gulf Coast Council or whoever recommends it, said that the gag grouper count and fishery is doing great, but they want to make sure it stays that way, so we're going to shut it down. Now, the problem I got with that is me and you got to throw it back. You go fishing with your buddy the other day, and y'all are throwing all these fish back, but you can go in a fish market and buy them. That's wrong. Right. And then they hear the complaint that we don't call in our fish. that commercial fishing has that little snitch box that tells you where you go and how long you've been there, and that you got to call in every fish, okay? So you go tell on yourself to give them the information.
That's it.
Right? You're giving them the information
Right.
of you catching fish in your one area that nobody else goes to. So there's no idea there. They blame us for not giving them the information. Well, when our taxes pay for that fishery and that help from the council, why is it back on us? It's back on you. For one, I had another guy tell me this one time, that you got to measure so-called all your anchor line. And he was referring to the grouper. You got to measure all of them, right? So that means recreational and commercial. Well, I didn't take it that way. My twisted mind thought of something else, and I said, you know what? You're right. You got to check how long your anchor line is, right? That means all of the Gulf of Mexico. What we got them checking, Brian, is 100 miles out. And I'll tell you a real genius move they've got. And anybody in Louisiana that fishes offshore will tell you this. There's an area over there off Louisiana they call the dead zone. There's no fish there. They went there in the middle of all these rigs, dropped a bait, nothing got bit, and this is a dead zone. That's what they did. Because I've caught fish more than once, and they laugh about it. They go, this is the dead zone. And we're doubled over.
You caught them in the dead zone.
500 pounds of red snapper. Boom, in the dead zone. So it shows you that what they're doing to this fishery. And that's why it's so important to stay with organizations like CCA that can keep a grip on it. You know, we finally got some people with our interest involved. I believe Captain Dylan Hubbard is one of the best.
Great guy.
And but he fights for both, because he's fighting for the right of fishing. He's commercial and he's recreational.
And you got Lisa Fitzgerald over there at CCA.
She's hammering.
Boy, ever since she come on board, it's
been positive.
Oh, it's been unbelievable, yeah.
Well, and some people don't realize that's why the support for CCA is so important. When you look at the members in the state of Florida, we're way down. It's almost embarrassing to know. I heard a number like 20,000. You know, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. We do a ton of fishing. These people need to get involved. Be looking for it in September. Power Pole, TA Mahoney Company.
Maybe we make a push and just see if we can drive.
We're going to make a push, and what we're going to make a push with is him giving away a trolling motor, because I ain't losing. I'm telling you, this will still be here after the 22nd. I'm going to whip him with it, is what I'm going to do.
Y'all better take some snapshots of that, because this might be the last time you see it.
It wouldn't be that bad, but I ain't going to lose it on a bet. I can tell you that, Brian Watts.
Hey, this bet's got to be on the up and up, too. No flim-flam.
Well,
you the flim-flam king.
So I've told you before.
You got to play by the rules.
I look at the rules, and I'm probably going to go to do something that ain't written down.
Well, hey, look.
But you may look at it as flim-flam.
A lot of these viewers know you, so they're out there laughing right now going, yeah, Watts thinks it's going to be
Mahoney
legit.
Ain't losing.
Nah.
Mahoney is the GOAT. I'm telling you, Tampa Bay,
Brian
Watts ain't winning.
I'm going to have eyes on you. I can just tell you that.
We're going to do a TV show on it.
That's right.
And it's going to be out this
Straight
year.
up.
This year. Brian, I appreciate you coming out today.
Thanks, buddy.
Sharing some stories with me and a good time. It's always good. Power Pole's #1.
Check out Power Pole, guys.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, it's unbelievable.
We got the trolling motors steady coming in. As quick as they get parts, they're shipping them out. If you need one, give us a call here at TA Mahoney Company, and we will be doing these podcasts more regularly. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, buddy.